I'm sitting here with Keith Savage, the Fringe Chair in 2019 at the beginning of Fringe 40, and I'm just going to ask him a few questions. When did you first get involved with the Fringe, Keith?
Well, as an audience member in the early 1990s, I've tried to, I know for sure I saw some shows in the 1991 Fringe because I saw Alan Bailey's art exhibition, for example, and Alan was chair of the Fringe at one time. And he also had a decent tenor voice, and I heard him sing. So as an audience member, it goes back nearly 30 years. As a member of the Fringe Committee, that goes back 15 years or so. I bumped into John Wilson, who was chair at the time, and he said they were looking for a treasurer for the Fringe, and he asked me to do that. So that takes me back about 15 years.
That's quite a long time. So how has it changed in the years since you first started with the Fringe?
But the obvious thing that's changed is just the sheer size and scale of the thing. In the 15 years or so that I've been part of the Fringe Committee, the Fringe is more than doubled in terms of the number of events that take place. And that's partly to be explained by the fact that we now have 3 venues that are managed independently of the Fringe itself, but it means that lots of shows get put on those specific venues. So what is still called underground venues, because it used to be under the old Hall Hotel, but is now on the first floor of the old clubhouse. That is host to a significant part of the Fringe, about a third of it in fact. But in more recent years, we've had the Green Man Gallery, which has been opened, I think they're coming up to 5 years altogether, and that's become established as an important Fringe venue as well, and puts on 30 Fringe shows or so. And then for the 3rd year this year, it will be the Rotunda Theatre, run by some arts professionals based in the New Forest, in fact, who put on some quality theatre and comedy events in a blue geodesic dome at the old hall. So the emergence of those, what we call managed venues, I think goes some way to explaining the growth of the Fringe. I think the other thing I think is that the Fringe, thanks to the very skilled volunteers that we have, looks far more professional perhaps than we ought to do at times. I think people ring me at home saying, "Is that the Fringe office?" not knowing that they've just come through to our kitchen, in fact. But however.
And I know you've reviewed a lot of shows. Are there any Fringe shows that stick in your mind particularly?
Well, because it was one of the earliest ones, and because my children, who would have been, about 5 and 9 at the time, or that sort of age, there was a promenade performance of the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which began at the bottom, or near the car park where Poole's Cabin is, and finished up at Solomon's Temple, and promenaded all the way through the Grinlow plantation, and finished up. There were no real horses involved, but the final scene involved Sir Gawain, I guess, galloping away on a horse, and this was happening just as the sun was setting, and it was one of those Buxton nights where you had thundery looking clouds all around. So Solomon's Temple was surrounded by these steely looking clouds and this horse galloping around the top, and my children were transfixed. So that's an early and very positive memory.
That's a lovely memory. And what would you say is the funniest thing that's happened to you or happened on your watch as Fringe Chair?
Well, I haven't remembered something that goes back to the early 90s. Perhaps my memory is short in other respects, but last year, Microphone was all over the place as far as the Fringe was concerned. I think he won the Spirit of the Fringe Award because of his engagement with all kinds of Fringe stuff. And on, I think it was Fringe Sunday, he did this several times. He had this audience participation show, which he did, reenacting a scene from the Busby Berkeley Babes of 1933, I think it was, which involved audience members wearing pink rubber swimming hats, and he attempted to get 4 people essentially to sort of almost lay down but support each other, so we made a small interlocking shape, and that I was involved in that, and that was genuinely funny, and the photographs of that were confirmed the amusement that we all got from that. So that was an event which I was part of, and got great fun from.
What do you think you'll miss about not being Fringe Chair?
Well, the Fringe has become such an important part of my life, really. Almost every day, throughout all 365 days, almost every day, something to do with the Fringe comes up and needs to be addressed. And although it's voluntary work, it's probably, of all the things I've done in my life, nothing has given me more satisfaction or pleasure to be a part of. So I shall miss all of that. I shall miss being part of something which is special and something which is important. Yes, it occasionally gives you heartache and sorrow, but for the most part, it's a source of such enormous pleasure and joy that I can't quite imagine what my life will be like without it. But no doubt I shall find other things to do.
I'm sure, and I hope we'll see you a lot on the Fringe. Just to wrap up, have you got any particular happy Fringe memory you want to hold on to on these dark days when you're not involved? Not so much. Thank you very much.